Now, update 26 for Warframe is bringing a lot of changes, literally the biggest update of the year. Some of these changes we know about and already spoke about in previous dev stream recaps, and some of them we didn't, like the addition of the new tier 5 fishers, the Requiems, or dare I say it, the golden experience. So this will be a very long video. Make sure and buckle up, you feckers, and do not switch off because there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of very important changes coming this week with update 26, as well as one massive fucking nerf that's going to affect a lot of you. Now, the new Parazon blade we know about. It's Assassin's Creed, basically. We know that you now will have 6 mod slots for this Parazon blade. 3 of these are for hacking terminals and so on, like quality of life mods, but the other 3 slots are for the immortal mods, which seem to now have been renamed to Requiem mods. These are the mods that you will need to equip in a certain order to kill that Ecovillage boss. But how do you get your hands on these new mods? With update 26, you will have tier 5 fisher missions. Tier 5, the Covert fortress has effected fishers and relics and given us a completely new tier of relics to farm. Requiem 1, Requiem 2, 3 and Requiem 4 relics. In these relics you will get statues and the usual nonsense, but also you will get the new Requiem mods that you need to kill that Ecovillage. The mods seem to be an uncommon reward, so hopefully RNG won't be too bad and you'll be able to get whatever Requiem mods you need pretty damn fast. But the relics will also drop Riven fragments, which allows you to collect a certain amount of those fragments and then trade them into Paladino in the Iron Wake hub and get a Riven mod in trade for those fragments once a week. So now we have 2 ways to earn Rivens, outside of trade chat of course. One if you're lucky with sorties and RNG, and the other from those fragments and Paladino once a week. So at least that one, I guess, once a week is a guaranteed Riven. Now, to get your hands on these Requiem relics, you're going to need to run Kuva Siphon missions. The Kuva Flood mission has a 100% chance to give you a Requiem relic, and the normal Siphon missions have a 30% chance for one to drop at the end. Enemies on these Kuva fishers, on these Requiem fishers, are also a lot higher level. They begin at level 60 to level 70. So they're going to be a little bit more challenging than what the normal fisher missions are, while also on the Kuva tile set you get a lot more slash procs. Now, the new Kuva Lich bosses, right? When you vanquish a Lich boss, you can choose to kill it or convert it. Killing it will give you their weapon, and if you convert it, you will have them to fight alongside you from time to time. Honestly, with this news, I'm killing them all until I have all of the weapons. Then I might have one as a companion to show up every once in a while, but I would imagine it's going to be the same for a lot of the community, so expect a river of Lich blood. Now, we've also been shown some of these new weapons that are coming with these Lich bosses. 14 in total, 7 primary, 5 secondary, and 1 melee and 1 heavy arc gun. Kuva versions of existing weapons like the Kuva Tonk or Kuva Comb, sounds incredible, a Kuva Comb. In fact, imagine a comb that already had innate toxin or innate electric damage built onto it. Fucking nuts. And 3 new Ecovillage weapons are being added to the game. The Chucker is a sniper, it seems. The Shield Egg looks like a Kuva mace, and there is a Kuva arc gun as well. Also, the Twin Stubba. I mean, really? Really, the Twin Stubba? Twin? You went with Twin? It could have been the Dubba Stubba. Fucking Dubba Stubba Master Race. Also, the Kuva Kraken can feck right off. Now, the Kuva Lich will also straight up steal your rewards on planets that it is influencing. You're going to need to clear out that influence in order to get back all of the loot that they steal from you. So that's basically the new tier of relics and how to get your hands on those Requiem mods, and a little bit more of additional information on those Lich bosses. So let's quickly go over the changes to Condition Overload and Covert Lethality, which were 2 mods that are being affected by these new Melee 2.9999 changes that are coming in this week with update 26. Condition Overload's current state is 60% additional damage per status effect on that target, but now that is changing to have it dealing 120%. So it's doubled damage per status effect up to a maximum of 3 status effects in total. This sounds really fucking good right now. Before we didn't know the exact percentage, so it came across as maybe a bit of a scaling nerf. Now we do know the percentage. I didn't think they would go over that 100%. Instead, they've gone for 120. So this will be, I guess, in a way the equivalent of having 6 status effects with the current mod, the way we have it right now. Less status effects is needed now in order to deal a huge amount of damage. Covert Lethality is staying as a dagger mod. They've reverted that change. They heard the feedback, so it won't be moving to your Parazon blade, which I'm not entirely sure whether I like or I dislike. I did joke about rip daggers, but that's kind of because that's all everyone in the community was saying, and I was kind of just taking the piss out of it. But it was going to the Parazon blade, which meant all Warframes could have used it while also using a melee weapon of choice, whatever you preferred, and not restricting you to a dagger. The kill animation for the Parazon blade might have been longer than what you would have used for the dagger, but it would have allowed you to pick and choose heavy targets to murder with Covert Lethality. But anyway, it's staying with daggers, so as you were. Now, Blood Rush, they never mentioned the exact percentages of that. I kind of hoped they would. They mentioned it for Condition Overload, but Blood Rush is another mod getting changed that has a lot of players kind of concerned with the scaling for their crit chance and what they're used to with their builds, but we don't know anything about it. Lifestrike, we know, it wasn't mentioned, but we know that it's going to work with those heavy attacks instead of the channeling attacks. All melee weapons will be getting complete rewalks to their damage and to their stats. As an example, we were shown the Paracesis on Prime Time last night, and it's gone from dealing 144 base damage up to 222 base damage. Its range is doubled and its status chance is almost doubled as well, up to 22%. We've seen the new Glaive Prime stats as well, with the follow through stat visible for us for the first time. It's not a new stat, apparently it's been there all along, it just wasn't on the stat table. The Glaive's damage is jumping from 50 to 164, range is from 0.5 up to 1.25. Crit chance is also jumping up to 22% from 15%, so it's getting a hefty buff as well. Now, the follow through on the glaive was 0.9. This means that enemies behind the first target or the first enemy that it hits will only take 90% of the initial damage. Next enemy after that will be 90% of that, and so on. Damage will be reduced for every enemy that it passes through. Now, the Zenistar, which is another huge kind of fan favourite, is also seeing some pretty big changes. Its base damage is jumping from just 130 heat, and it's changing to 80 impact 50 slash plus 150 heat, so it's getting pretty big damage buff. Range is being more than doubled. Its status chance is going to be 30%. Crit chance is also getting a 5% increase. Now, the big thing about the Zenistar is that sounds like changes to its actual just swing mechanics or normal melee attacks. We don't know anything about the disc mechanic, whether it's getting stat changes. It might be changed and it might not be. They couldn't clarify it on last night's prime time, so we're going to have to stay tuned for the patch notes next week. Now, we've also been told that melee Riven dispositions won't be touched with this update, update 26, but they are looking at them and they're going to, I guess, change them depending on what usage they see throughout update 26 or after update 26 has already landed. The Warframe abilities that use combo counters like Ash and Atlas and so on will now scale at 25% of their former values to make it easier to build a much higher valued combo counter. Now, the worst part of prime time last night, or the worst part for a lot of you, will be the huge nerf that was announced for a weapon that a fucking huge portion of the player base uses as their go-to weapon.
Hello, welcome to the inaugural and hopefully final edition of Why the Hell Did You Nerf My Weapon? With me, Pablo. So what we have here is some stats for pistols. And this is the stats we use for tracking the usage of every weapon on each different category. So in case of pistols, for example, we have it sorted right now by Mastery Rank 5. You can see the Furies is used by 14.18% of players. The Kraken is used by 9.8%. And that just means that 14.8% of all Mastery Rank 5 players are using the Furies, right? And that's pretty normal because that's sort of what you get access at those Mastery Ranks. So that's totally fine and good. But let's look at something that's not as fine as good. Good old friend, the Catchmoon. Oh yeah. So you might be looking at this and saying like, well, that's not that bad. 7%. 10%, okay. 16%, okay. 19%, okay. 35%, 99%, okay. And as it rises and rises, as you can see, it goes all the way to 50% at rank 27. Now, 50% means, I think we have 103 secondaries, if I remember correctly. This is off the top of my head, so might not be exact. But if it is 103, then basically you have 102 weapons that I use the same amount as one, which obviously is not good. To us, that means essentially that the weapon is clearly so over the curve of power than any other weapon that it becomes a non-choice. Basically, if you're not using the Catchmoon, you're doing it wrong. And that's why we're gonna nerf it. Which I imagine doesn't make you very happy, because nerfs don't feel good. But, important piece of information before you get angry about it. This is me, as a kid. I'm adorable. You're not allowed to get angry at me.
The Catchmoon, of course the Catchmoon kit gun, is getting a substantial nerf. Pablo showed us the usage charts for the Catchmoon for every mastery rank in game, and the increase in usage as that mastery goes up is absolutely insane. At mastery rank 27, 50% of that mastery player base are using the Catchmoon. So it's getting the same usage as the other 102 sidearms combined. Even at mastery rank 14, 25% of that mastery player base are using the Catchmoon, simply because of its usefulness and how powerful it is at clearing rooms. So hopefully, I guess, you guys can see the problem from their eyes. It's a weapon that can orange crit without Rivens, can melt huge groups of enemies because of infinite punch through, and it outperforms nearly every other weapon in the game right now, which shows to Digital Extremes, I guess, that it needs to be balanced. It's the very definition of, I guess, why use that weapon when you can just use the Catchmoon. Once you get it, every other weapon feels weak in comparison. But then you also have the argument on the flip side of that other weapons should be brought up in line instead of nerfing the one useful one. But that brings up the topic of endless scaling armor for enemies, which is like banging your head against a wall. Honestly, as bad as the nerf sounds, other kit guns are just as powerful. I prefer Rattleguts anyway, and I feel like you're all sleeping on that one, and I know some players love the Tomb Finger because it's incredibly powerful. I'm part of the 3% because apparently that's all that uses the Rattleguts. So what exactly are they nerfing about the Catchmoon? It's basically becoming a shotgun sidearm of sorts, or a melee ranged sidearm, because of the damage fall off that it's about to get. Right now it deals 60% of damage at 40 meters. That will change to 10% of its damage at 20 meters, with fall off starting at 8 meters and the maximum of that fall off being 16 meters. So this basically means that inside 8 meters you will deal the maximum amount of damage with your Catchmoon. But outside of that 8 meters your damage will start to fall off, and at 16 meters and beyond you will be dealing 10% of what your maximum damage is. Like I said, it's basically a melee ranged sidearm now. They also mentioned that the Fulmin and the Arcoplasmor are other weapons that kind of function in the same way, with that punch through and with the kind of wide arc of how many enemies it can hit, and they're also being looked at for a potential nerf. So that's happening to the Catchmoon this week with update 26. It is getting changed a lot. 50% of the player base using it at a certain mastery rank because it's better than every other weapon in the game, even better than primary weapons, is a bit bloody crazy. Now, Ember's Rewalk we already spoke about in a previous video. She's getting a complete overhaul, but she has received 1 or 2 tweaks since we last spoke about her. In relation to heat and how it's going to strip armor, corrosive armor stripping is permanent, but apparently the new heat effect with Ember will increase the armor stripping while enemies are affected by that heat proc. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be a permanent thing. It's just going to ramp up how fast you can strip an enemy of its armor once they're under the influence of a heat effect. Her passive range has jumped up to 50 meters, which is bloody huge. 5% additional power strength for every enemy set on fire inside 50 meters is crazy. I wonder if heat-based weapons will also affect this, like the Ignis and so on. Her fireball now has a combo meter attached to it, just like Atlas's punch. So if you spam fireball, its damage will increase once you can keep that combo meter going and ramp up to really high amounts. Her Immolation, which is her new damage reduction ability, gives her 90% damage reduction. This has a meter attached to it that will no longer explode in a massive AoE once that meter gets maxed out, draining all of your energy in the process. Now it will not explode, but it will just slowly drain your energy once that meter is maxed out. But you can cast her third ability, Fire Blast, to reduce that meter back down a bit and stop that energy drain. So there's a little bit of juggling going to be needed in terms of balancing how much energy you're losing and how much damage reduction you want to keep on your Ember. Now her Inferno ability, which is the World on Fire replacement, now drains energy per enemy that you hit, with up to a maximum of 10 enemies being affected every time you cast it. So you can't hit any more than 10 enemies by those fucking meteors that fall from the sky. Now, the big change has to be to her Emulation Augment. Allies or teammates inside affinity range will receive 50% of Immolation's damage reduction. This is fucking huge. This means that if Ember is sitting at 90% damage reduction, then everyone inside that affinity range will get a 45% damage reduction on top of whatever your current damage reduction is. That's a huge boost to survivability for a lot of Warframes, especially if you can build Ember for high efficiency and have her with a slow energy drain, and maybe have Rage or Hunter Adrenaline affecting energy returning to her, on top of maybe Heat affecting that armor stripping. Ember is about to become a go-to Warframe for a lot of people. She's about to be top tier. Not to mention that her Fire Blast Augment will also heal her for every enemy that it hits, and her Inferno Augment gives a 15% chance for enemies to drop energy orbs. So she's going to be able to reduce damage, heal, and also drop energy, depending on what augment you bring with her. Like I said, she's about to become incredible. Volban, I don't know what way I feel about Volban, I honestly don't. We've also seen and spoken about him on previous DevStream recaps, but we know about his Nervous Tesla Ball, his Mine Layer, his Photon Strike, which is of course the Orbital Strike, that's the proper name for it, and of course the Bastille combined with the Vortex, which kind of collapse into one another, while Bastille also strips enemy armor completely. Sounds relatively good. I'm not a big fan of Mine Layer, but we've already spoken about this, so I'll move on. The Zealoid Prelate fight, which is the infested fight we got from Nightwave Season 2, is becoming a permanent feature, a permanent boss fight in the Orokin Derelict tileset for an assassination mission. So that's basically what we seen on Primetime last night. They are going to put up a dev workshop post, I believe, over the next few days, giving a lot more detail, and once the patch notes drop for update 26, we're going to see all of the changes for all of the melee weapons and exactly how much they are affected, whether for the good or for the bad, as well as the nerfs for that Catchmoon kit gun as well. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about all of the changes. Condition Overload seems like it could be still really fucking good. The same with, I guess, Covert Lethality, because it's staying in daggers. In terms of the Catchmoon, it is an incredibly useful weapon, incredibly good, used by a lot of players, so for it to be nerfed is definitely a kick in the stones, I'm sure, for a lot of you, but it's seeing that kind of usage compared to every other weapon was definitely going to draw their attention, so I guess that's why it's getting a nerf more than anything else. Do me a huge favour, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.